Hello everybody, Deb here from Slap Happy Sewing. First thing I want to talk to you about is about this top I've got on. This is actually a charity shop top, and I think these garments are generally very expensive. I couldn't resist buying it, even though it's crossways stripes. It's quite unusual to get something as nice as this. The reason I bought it is because this is something I'd like to try. I like this idea of, you know, colour blocking. It's got stripes on the neckline. It's got a different back to front look. Different back to front. I like the buttons, the bottom band. I want to have a go. I bought some Ellie and Mac patterns for hoodies, you know, in the Wacky Wednesday sale for $1, and I want to have a go with some of my scraps and bits of fabric and put them together and see whether I could make something like this in a hoodie style. So that's number one. I wish I could have filmed this, what my husband just said about my top. He said, so is that a new top? I'm like, yeah. He said,
I did not.
You did. Oh, he said, it's a bit bright.
I said it was bright.
It's bright, yeah.
Yeah,
as if it was
so
something
bright.
bad. As if it was something bad. I said, oh, you mean like I shouldn't wear bright colours or something?
Oh, I didn't say that either.
By the way, he's eating his lunch and he's eating a feijoa. Show them what a feijoa is. We've got a tree for these in our garden.
And surprisingly nice.
He said, the next thing he said is, how much was it? And I said, I can't remember, maybe $8. I said, it's actually would be a very expensive one normally, maybe $120, and I bought it for $8. And he's like,
Oh, did not go.
And as you can see, he is the arbiter of style. Look at this style arbiter that we've got here.
I've got my good clothes on today.
Yeah, it's actually not covered in paint for a bit. My daughter calls him the hobo. Yes, anyway, I'm going to try and catch him next time when he says things like that and makes comments about my clothes. Loading up his trailer. Okay, number 2. I was a subscriber to the original Craftsy, and then I think I got a special deal to subscribe to Blueprint, which I plan to take for just a year. The reality is I really just don't have time. They're very good sewing videos on there, but I don't have time to watch them. Then it's got taken over by another company, and popped up in my feed was a video about this other company and their practices. So it's a well-known marketing ploy that companies will do everything to get you to put your credit card into their system, write a subscription for them to debit your credit card with every year with the amount that's said in the subscription, and it's up to you to go in there and decide that's not right for you. They should send you an email telling you that they're going to debit your credit card. I don't think all companies necessarily do that. A bona fide one will. Anyway, this person, I'll see if I can find the video and link it below for you. She said that her experience of this company that had taken over Craftsy come Blueprint is that they were offering subscriptions for something like ridiculous, like $2 or something like that. But what they're doing is getting people to enter their credit card numbers, and then when they roll over, when your subscription rolls over, you'll be charged about $100 for the second and subsequent years. So, and of course they know that the vast majority of people don't really pay that much attention to these subscriptions. They're generally fairly small amounts that come out of your credit card. So if you are signed up in any way to Craftsy or Blueprint, I encourage you to go and check that. She also said that it was they've made it so you can't cancel it online, and that you have to ring them. And that was like alarm bells for me, because ringing a company in the US from New Zealand costs a lot of money. So I went and had a look, and she was dead right. It was going to roll over at something like $110, the subscription. I had actually put it in my diary to cancel it before April anyway. So I went to cancel it, and exactly what she said happened. I was directed to ring a number. So I don't like those marketing practices. I think they're dodgy. I won't have anything to do with a company that does things like that. And I tried finding a way to email them. Hopeless, didn't work. So what I did was, luckily I tried to pay everything with PayPal, and luckily I went into PayPal and I cancelled the subscription that way. I just cancelled the payment. So if you have a Craftsy Blueprint subscription, just go in there and check what's going on. Okay, number 3. I wanted to just check in with you about this jacket that I was making. Butterick 5528. And I was making that one. There. Okay. So here is as far as I've got. Now this thing has been a freaking nightmare. Sweater knits, double knits, jerseys. Well, of course, probably my knit was a bit on the heavy side. And what I found was I literally could not make it using the techniques they had. What I found was, if we look at the collar here, by the time I had doubled that collar, sewn it in, I was already sewing with three layers of fabric there, 3 layers of this thick fabric. And then I was supposed to bring the facing up in there as well. There was no way. My poor old machine was like, trying to sew the 3 layers of fabric. So I did a workaround, which I'm not sure it has worked, and I put some bias binding to cover all of those. I trimmed those seams back and then put some bias binding over it, which I sewed in by hand in true old-fashioned style. That's the way I was taught when I was young to sew, was sew things like that by hand. Now I'll put it on. There's a lot of good about this, and there's a lot that's not good about this. So if I put it on, you don't even know you've got it on. So the bad, we'll start with the bad. The bad is its collar is absolutely massive. Goes right up your neck. And now, of course, if I just leave it like that, you can see this bias binding, which is a bit of a problemo. So don't know what to do about that. But I probably ought to. I am a person who likes to have things fastened. I'm not particularly an edge-to-edge jacket person. Generally, if I'm wearing a jacket, I need the warmth. So I will put something there. I had a try at trying to do a buttonhole in 2 layers of this fabric. No way. Machine won't do it. So I'm going to have to find something like a toggle or some kind of a fastening to go there. I do quite like it. I've got to say, I think it's quite pretty. I would call this a Debbie garment. It's the kind of thing that I like. It's a bit wild. It's a bit wacky. Held together. I think it's sort of interesting. The fabric's too thick. This is really a kind of a wearable muslin, really. I made the biggest size because when you look at the measurements, the biggest size, which is extra extra large, supposedly 24 to 26, but the body measurements for that would have been bust 46 to 48, waist 39 to 41 and a half, hip 48 to 50. Now it probably is a bit on the big side. However, it is a jacket and I am going to wear it over a jumper, probably a thick jumper, maybe even 2 or 3, because I find now I had a little hot phase around perimenopause. Post-menopause, I'm just cold all the time in the winter, so I always like to wear lots of warm things. The hip was 48 to 50. However, I measured the pattern and the pattern was pretty snug in the hips. Now, I added ½ an inch each side to the hips, even though I made the biggest size. And then when I was making it up, I actually made it so it had a little, I don't know if that was a good idea or not. What do you think? So yeah, I'm going to need to do a fastening and wear it done up, or find a way to stop it from doing that. Your comments, as always, would be appreciated. So I don't know, let's see if I actually wear this. I did think last night, oh, I could actually just take the collar off and make a smaller collar for it, but you know what, I'm always loath to go back over things. I'm kind of a bit over this now. Oh, another thing I did is I did lengthen it quite a bit, maybe even 2 inches, but it is a short jacket. Oh, and I'll just show you that I took a photo. This is the first time that I traced off the pattern pieces and I made them the full size so that I could try and fit them on the fabric, because I wasn't quite sure I'd have enough fabric. As it happened, I did, but yeah, I mean, I was quite proud of myself for doing that. I'll put it up there. Right, so there's this one. So this one is a Oh, another thing I really got to own up to is, see all these facings and things. I use that iron-on tape to iron them in place, and actually the hem I've done that way too, and I think that will be fine. I've actually done that to some of my trousers, and I've found it's only when I've washed them about 40 times that that tape tends to come off. A garment like this is unlikely to get washed, hardly ever, because it's more of a coat than anything. So I think that iron-on taping will be just fine and should keep things in place. So if you guys are horrified by that, well, that's all right. You can let me know in the comments, but that's slap happy me. Right, next. Somebody commented in the last video about me putting elastic in the back of trousers. Well, I have done this to almost, unless they've got elastic in the waist, I've pretty much done this to every pair of trousers that I have. Now, Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles has got a video on that, which I will put down below, which is the right way to do it, you know, the good sewer way. But the slap happy way to do it is, well, for this, for example, if you look at these jeans, they were, you know, they were like that. They were just completely, they've got a little bit of lycra in. They're old jeans and they just used to fall down all the time. So, and when I wear them, they just gape right out at the back here like that. So I put elastic in the back, just in the back of them, because, you know, I've got plenty of tummy in the front to hold them up. But that's how I did it. So very, very makey looky. I literally just cut a slit, inserted the elastic and just machined it down. Now Karina will tell you how to do it properly, which generally what she would have you do is open up the seam on the sides and do it. But honestly, these are not going to fray a bit. You could do it this way and just put a bit of fray stop on it if you thought the fabric was going to fray. But I'm a great believer in, you know, just make it work. I wasn't wearing these trousers, they weren't working, and now they work, and that's fine, and that will probably last well enough for the rest of the life of these trousers, so I'm not going to fuss about it. Right, one more thing to talk to you about is, you know, I've been acquiring all that fabric. I've actually got another load to pick up from the same person, but it's not as big a load this time. But, you know, washing all that fabric and putting it away has been a bit of a job, really. And I thought, you know what, I love it when you see sewists and they've got all their fabric out on open shelves. I think that looks so great, and it would be so cool to do that. But I have also seen a lot of fabric in charity shops and thrift stores and so forth that they've been ruined by that process. So basically, if you have your fabric out in the light, and there's any kind of it's a light room, there's a light window, and it's not just in New Zealand, although our UV levels are very high here because of our ozone hole. You may find that your fabric gets ruined, because when you open it out you can see the lines of where the light has been on the fabric. So I put all mine away in plastic bins, but of course it's not the easiest to look at that way, and I've come to the conclusion that part of the main, you know, if you have a hobby like sewing, you should really enjoy it, every part of it. Fabric shopping, you should enjoy looking at your fabrics, you should enjoy looking at your patterns. Now, I have showed you once before the pattern book that I made. Well, I decided I would make a fabric folder, and so that I could look through my fabrics and I wouldn't have to go and, you know, get them all out, which is getting to be a bit of an effort, getting all these big boxes out to see what I've got. So in true slap happy style, and very frugal. I just found an old folder that was lying around. It's probably one of my husband's, but I nicked it. And I had all these old folders and things in my art room. I'm trying to clear out my art room at the moment of junk. So I used, basically, you probably want card or something, and I just clipped a little piece of the fabric and just used a stapler and stapled them on. And I've got them sorted in sort of, you know, lightweight knits, heavyweights, stretch wovens, pontees, so forth. I've got a lot of fabric at this point. Now, it remains to be seen how much I look at this. But when I'm looking through my pattern book, I want to be able to look through this fabric book and see what I've got. Because I have a lot of fabric at this point. It would have been nice to cut a bigger piece of fabric out, but you know, so I'm often very careful about the way I cut out, and honestly, if you lost a big piece off, it might be just the piece you need when you're trying to squeeze out a garment out of that fabric. So it's a toss-up between cutting a big enough piece that you can feel it and you can feel the weight of it and all, and actually taking so much of the fabric that you're making it less useful. Okay, so that's me there on that idea. And anything else? No, I think that's it for today. All right, so I hope I'll get this edited and put up this evening, and if I think of anything in the meantime, I'll let you know. Thanks everybody for following along with me, sending me lovely words of support and kindness, and subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate everything that you do, and I hope you find these videos useful. They're very much just a very personal take on sewing, and maybe a bit of a
Did you make it?
Yeah. Not quite finished yet. Come on, tell me.
As practical, it's probably not.
Why isn't it practical?
Well, it's short sleeved, it's floppy, it's short. Really just something
It's
to go
actually
with.
very, very warm.
Yeah, well,
Do you like the collar?
yeah, the collar's not. Well, when it's folded down. Was it folded down?
Yeah, it is folded
No,
down.
no, it's not the big one.
Oh, there it is. See you soon. Take care. Stay safe. Bye.